All right, what is growing on? So today's video is at my home farm. Guys, I haven't made a video here in a minute. If I have, it's been little snippets. There's not gonna be a full tour or anything like that. Maybe this summer when that comes, but this video is gonna be focused on 3 fruit trees that are way more cold hardy than we thought. You know, obviously there's a lot of things here. Suriname cherry, Cattleya guava over my corner, or over my left shoulder, longans, lychees, you know, those we all kind of, we knew would take, you know, into the 20s, 26 degrees, not even phased. You know, I'm coming up on a Eugenia unifloria right now, and I don't see any cold damage. Even the new growth is still fine on this guy. New young tender leaves still look good. Nothing's burnt on the tips. That guy looks great. We were just 25 degrees last night. Over here on this side, we got a little bit of smoked bananas, and then that right there is a big lychee, also showing no signs of cold damage. Let me flip this camera around, show you this happy lychee. This guy did flower last year. You can see some of the old flower spikes on there. Hopefully gonna get some fruit this year. And guys, my backyard looks different. That's probably one of the reasons I haven't made you a video. It's been quite depressing the last couple of years with the hurricanes we've had. I have lost so many big trees. Combination of trees going down in the hurricane, trees dying during the drought season. You know, you name it. We've lost some really, really big water oaks and live oaks. There's a big dead one right here. I don't know if you guys can even tell, right in Jabo land. There's a big dead one over there that I haven't even tended to, but I tried to get the ones up in the zone 1 that could land on the house, land on the pool cage. I still have the rest of that live oak to get out that was completely dead. But from, you know, having a deep shaded food forest right outside my back door, with a path, this used to be a giant bed. Everything is evolving, everything is changing. I'm getting a lot more sunlight. I mean, I could technically even grow some vegetables maybe in the zone 1. So this is gonna change. It's time to, you know, rethink the planning, rethink the zoning. You know, starting from fresh. You know, we have a lot of the mainframe, but it's time to bring a lot of the supporting plants back in. And now I can plant support plants I couldn't plant before because I'm getting better light, allowing me to grow, you know, natives I couldn't grow before, allowing me to grow ground covers I couldn't grow before. So I think that's pretty cool. But let's get back to this video and what this is really about. So 3 fruit trees that are way more cold hardy than you would think. And guys, I've had 24.6 in November, 25.4. I mean, 6, 7, 8 times already this year. So we would know if this stuff is damaged. So I'm gonna flip the camera around. I probably have about 15 of these trees on the property, guys. This is carambola or starfruit. And they thrive on neglect. This is by far the most productive tree I have on the farm. I shouldn't say this tree, I should say species. Got about 15 of these trees. The other day, we had that big windstorm I was talking about in the last video. You could see this branch. Kind of looks like cold damage, but it's not. What happened was there's about 500 pounds of fruit on here. One tree can make 2,000 pounds of fruit a year. And as you can see, the fruit was so overly abundant that it cracked the branch. So overachievers. Trick with these guys is heavy pruning, wind protection, deep shade. And you know, I used to think that because we were underneath all these oak trees, that's why we're making it through the winter. But guys, my oak trees are gone. My bananas are smoked. They used to be protected. Starfruit is still thriving. So carambola, starfruit does not read the books. It might tell you can't handle below freezing, but I promise you these trees are way, way, way more cold hardy than you would think. I've been as low as 17 degrees here. These things have frozen almost all the way down to the rootstock, but they actually came back above the graft and they grow back so fast. I can chop the top out of these trees and within 2 months, you know, they're already sprouting back up. They seem like they're always flowering and they're always fruiting. So super cold hardy. This one does definitely not read the books. Mango flowering, untouched. That is not gonna make this video, but that is definitely not normal and pretty exciting. So it'd be cool to see if we get some fruit set this year. Really big, I believe this was an Edward mango, which is a early flowering variety, which I see is kind of going off in South Florida, but this hasn't been productive. So this isn't going to make the cut for cold hardiness because it's just not tried and true. It's not going to do it every single year. It's not like this guy right here. you know, that's just pumping all the time. Edible flowers, edible fruit, all different stages. I probably have 5 or 6 varieties of starfruit. And this is that flying tongue variety again, which turns into almost a white one with kind of a bent rib on it. We did just have some crazy cold temperatures last night. And I just want to show you guys comparison here. Native firebush, smoked. Smoked. Now it didn't kill the plant. It's definitely going to come back, but very, very cold sensitive when in comparison. And this one just has a freak die off on the side of the tree. That's not from the cold. I need to prune that off of there. As you can see, the rest of the tree is completely unaffected. So, but carambola, starfruit, stunner, #1 on my list for production in my area. Unbelievable with how cold hardy it is. It's absolutely mind blowing to me. So #2, this one was totally unexpected. This one's been here a little while. It hasn't put out the production that we're getting out of starfruit and so on. But they have started to produce. They've taken these cold winters, and I'm just kind of like, wow, you still have fruit on the tree. It's 25 degrees out. You're 25 foot tall. You're not supposed to do that here in Central Florida, Zone 9B. And that second one would be eggfruit or canistel. Really awesome fruit. Really, really, really interesting. And my best way I've had it is actually in dessert. But this tree over here on the other side, which I actually see a little bit of cold damage all the way up at the top. Probably need the drone to show that to you, but most of this tree is completely unaffected. Not going to talk about this cold hardy avocado because we know those will take it. But let me turn around this camera and see if I can get you guys a little canistel. Whoa, turn. We don't want to see me. So right there and up top, there's a double header. There's a single one right there. And there's one, I know I missed one here last week. I saw a carcass on the ground. One of them did actually fall, but this guy is super cold hardy, really impressed. And like I mentioned, we just had some crazy winds. Look what happens when we get the windstorms. Starfruit is loaded. Whoa, so this is that flying tongue variety. I really think this is probably one of the best varieties of starfruit. It might not be the sweetest variety of starfruit. Very, very productive, has a really unique flavor to it. If you want sweet, go Keri. Sure you can bang in. You know, this one is still sweet, but this is like half the size of what these guys can get. And I was talking about those kind of bent ribs. Very, very high production fruit tree. And most people have only ever tried a carambola from the grocery store. Guys, those are lousy variety, picked green, gassed to ripen, not store or tree grown, obviously fresh. I'm looking at another one over here. It's catching my attention. I have a sour variety that's just loaded in fruit too. So pumping with starfruit here. I think I'm gonna take a bite out of this. I will say starfruit can be pretty high in oxalates. So if you're somebody that's prone to getting a lot of kidney stones, you probably don't want to eat a ton of these. From my understanding is, though, a lot of those oxalates tend to resonate in the outer edge of the starfruit, which is typically that green rib on the outside. My understanding is if you take that off of there, and I'm just going to flip it around and show you another starfruit tree. Look at these differences. Flying tongue, sure you come banging. And that's kind of showing you that green edge I was talking about. Orange in the center, green edge, white flying tongue. So starfruit, carambola, overachiever. Location is key. Wind intolerant. Loves deep shade. Guys, if you go to where they grow these things commercially, down on Pine Island, you know, they're growing, I think, the Bell variety typically, or Arkin or something like that. They're in giant shade houses. That's for a reason. So these guys are super achievers. Look at this, dude. Look at this. I gotta flip this camera around. You guys are gonna freak out here. Look at the production. Look at this. Look how orange these guys are. Middle of January in Florida. 25 degrees last night. All right. So yeah, if you are not growing carambola, if you are not growing starfruit in a Zone 9B, give this one a try, or anywhere warmer. This could be grown in a pot. This could be kept inside. I mean, these things fruit in a pot all the time too, where, you know, my typical mango, avocado, I won't let it flower and fruit at a young age, or I won't let it fruit because of the stress that plant grows through, you know, to create that fruit, all those sugars, all that work. Starfruit, I let these guys fruit in the pot all the time. 1 gallons typically have flowers on them. It does not slow them down. If anything, maybe it helps them. So 5-finger, starfruit, carambola. Don't give up on this one. You guys are, amazing garnish on a drink. Really cool when you cut them into stars, you know, let people taste them with a, you know, just put some, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say Q-tip, but it's not. Toothpicks inside of them for eating them. So yeah, starfruit, carambola, if you can grow it, if you're in a zone where you can push it, try it. Number 3, the one and only, my favorite fruit tree because of its amount of production, how many times it fruits a year, how unique the fruiting is. And I could just squeeze through here and show you the one on my pool cage that has fruit on it. This is a Sabara variety. It actually has little flowers on it right now, little spikes. It has flowered and fruited a couple times in the ground. These things have been completely unfazed by any type of cold here. I've seen 17 degrees. I mentioned that earlier. I've had some of these defoliate. I've had some of these even start to crack in the trunk. No big deal. Very, very, very cold hardy, guys. This is the tree of Brazil, the Brazilian tree grape. It fruits right off of the trunk of the tree. I'm sure if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know about Jaboticaba, and you're probably like, Pete, shut up. We know this tree's awesome. But if you guys are new here, Jaboticaba needs to be on your list. I would highly suggest starting with a red hybrid or a scarlet if you want something that's gonna fruit in a reasonable amount of time. But you know, these trees here that I planted 10 years ago that were probably 3s and 7 gallons are now 20, 30 gallon, 35 gallon trees fruiting in the ground. So really, really cool, beautiful trees, can be grown in a pot. They don't have to be grown in the ground. And speaking of grown in the pot, let me show you that one on the back porch. All right, so here's one that's been on my back porch now for, I don't know, 10 years. This guy has been here a minute. Very dark grape. Now this is the red, has a much thinner skin on it. You can see some that are actually more of that red color there on the top and then darken up as they ripen. I have literally seen this guy fruit off the trunk of the tree. That was a fruit I missed from these exposed roots. This guy thrives on neglect. I haven't potted this up. I haven't added soil. You can see exposed roots. They don't get fertilizer. It does get the occasional water. And this tree's a little thin. This isn't a great example of a beautiful Jaboticaba. But what I really want to show you here is this fruit. Guys, this thing tastes like the most delicious Concord grape you've ever had, mixed with tropical hints of lychee. In my opinion, absolutely delicious. Fruits 5, 6, 7 times a year. I don't care where you live. You can grow Jaboticabas. If you're in Canada, if you're in New York, I don't care. California, other side of the globe, Alaska, this guy can grow in a pot, come inside in the wintertime, be used as a Christmas tree. Everybody grows indoor houseplants anyway, so what a beautiful houseplant that's actually going to give you a fruit. And I'll show you the seed and the pulp on that here real quick. So, whoa. Jaboticaba is my favorite tree for a number of reasons. Production, beauty of the tree, can be grown anywhere, and just the flavor, they're unbelievable. So if you haven't tried a Jaboticaba, get out there and find one, grow one. I know you got a spot in your yard. I know you got room for a pot. Most importantly, guys, it's 2026. Start a garden, rip that grass out of the ground. Time to get out there and pound some dirt. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. 3 fruit trees that are way more cold hardy than don't read the books.